Hey there, Zlatko here. Welcome to What is My Brain podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I get the opportunity to chat with fellow founders and business operators about their journey and how they got to where they are now, where they are going, and how they're going to get there. I'm planning on bringing guests and touching on topics such as running multiple businesses, executing ideas, and just spitballing about random topics and current events. It's a casual conversation, and that will hopefully bring value to anyone that decides to listen. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.
That's awesome. All right, Andrew, my man, thank you for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. We're here because you and I have connected a few times. You're running a whole community of marketing folks, and you're vetting people, you're connecting people in the agency world, and all that stuff. So that's how we got connected. But we've talked a few times after that. So introduce yourself. What do you do? And kind of give us whatever you want to give us, man. Do you want to talk about how you started, where you're going, what you're doing, how you're doing it? Just go ahead and riff, man, and we'll just go from there.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm Andrew Fischer, founder of Gyde Marketing. At its current capacity, Gyde is a network of thousands of vetted freelance and full-time marketers located mainly around the United States, but we have a couple people in Europe and in South America as well. Man, it's been a long journey to where Gyde is at now. At its current capacity, we are a community of marketers. We have private forums, we have live Q&As, we have community meetups, and how we generate revenue is from our job board side. So that's our freelance and full-time job board, and we charge brands a subscription to basically access this vetted community. So everybody in here is invited. You can't just join. You have to go through our vetting process, be referred by somebody else, and then connect directly with us. I would kind of describe it like a LinkedIn premium for marketers, both on the freelance and full-time side. Yeah. But it's taken a while to get to this point. A lot of different iterations, a lot of different pivots, a lot of massive out-of-our-control situations, including, just like a lot of people, a global pandemic. So, if you want the background, I can dive in starting in 2019.
Let me ask you, what is your natural background? Did you come from a marketing? Are you solving? Basically, what I'm trying to ask is, are you solving a problem that you had yourself, or you just saw a problem in the market where you were just, hey, I need to build something around this? Because you and I, off record, have talked about both sides of it. The talent and also the client. Right. And for us as an agency, it's a little bit different, but. So let me know about that, what you think about all of that, and where you come from that side of things.
So I actually have more of a sales background, but as an account executive, as an enterprise AE, as a sales team lead, I was always working in the marketing space, specifically on the agency side. So it really opened up the understanding of how often agencies, how often brands relied on freelance talent. And I sold at a company called Trendkite to one of the larger agencies out there called MSL Group. Based out of New York, but they have thousands of employees around the world. And really realized how often they were posting these freelance jobs, how much churn was involved in this, how many different types of roles were involved in this. So I definitely saw the problem firsthand. And as an account executive, when you sell into something that large, you basically become their client success team as well, and really focus and work with their team. And so specifically with MSL Group and then Edelman, I went on site, got to know their team, their VPs, and I think that's what opened my eyes to the fact that they, even these multi-billion-dollar agencies have no idea what the hell they're doing when it comes to recruiting talent. There's so many channels. It's it's a bit of a shit show when it comes to job boards. You can post to LinkedIn, but as anybody that's ever posted a job to LinkedIn knows, you might get 150 applicants, and 148 of them are going to have nothing to do with your job. And so
I can vouch for that. I can vouch for that.
Yeah. It's finding a needle in a haystack. So that's what really opened my eyes to it. And we definitely started more in the hospitality space. This was late 2019. Just noticed how much restaurants were paying these agencies to do social media management. Basically come once a month and take all of these photos and high quality content of dishes being made and making time lapse videos of start to finish from prepping in the kitchen. And you realize, wow, they're paying these people a ton of money, and a freelance photographer and a freelance social person could do this for about half the cost.
Right.
And so that's really where it started. It was just a couple of restaurants took a chance on us. I think our first client, it was called Hideaway Kitchen. It was like $175 a month. It was just at cost. I worked with a couple freelancers that were willing to test it out. Our theory of connecting freelancers to this hospitality group worked out great. By February of 2020, we had gone, this was from October 2019 to February 2020. We went from zero to about $30,000 a month in revenue. So we thought we had figured it all out. We were like, wow, this is it, man. This is this is free money. Like nobody's doing this. It's crazy. Like there's Upwork and there's Fiverr, but nobody's doing this kind of in person, connecting of freelancers. And then March 2020 hit. So even our largest clients, we were working with Fairmont, Marriott, and these were the Austin locations of these. But anybody that was in hospitality was just trying to stay alive at that point. So we ended up losing about 90% of our revenue within a month. I'm sure there's a lot of people that had a similar situation, depending what industry you were in. But that was kind of the first major pivot where we realized, okay, this probably isn't going to come back anytime soon, relatively speaking. What industries are going to be COVID friendly? At that point, definitely not hospitality. It's, we had gotten a little bit into the real estate side. In the very beginning stages, people weren't comfortable with having a photographer or somebody on site, in case they spread something. We realized quickly it was direct to consumer, that everything could be done remotely. Instead of photography in person, it was going to be studio photography. That's where we really expanded into WordPress, Webflow, building out and designing websites. And so because we had this community of content creators and social managers, they knew other freelancers that did web design, that did studio photography, that did paid media. And so that's where we expanded into. Our very first client was a company called Richard's Rainwater. They very cool concept. They collected rainwater in these huge tubs outside of Austin in Dripping Springs and created bottled water and sparkling water from rainwater. So it was completely natural. They didn't use any outside sources, but they were just starting out their direct-to-consumer side. Their VP of marketing took a chance on us. We didn't even have a website for this side of stuff yet, but I built out a really nice Google Slides presentation, brought in a couple of freelancers on a Zoom call, and you took a chance on us. And from there, it expanded. We ended up doing about double the revenue in the second half of 2020 than we did in the first half.
Wow.
And, this is after getting the emergency disaster loan, thinking everything was over, and realizing there were other avenues to go down there during COVID. So that kept going, and we did well with that side, the gig economy, essentially, of connecting freelancers to these projects and taking a percentage of it.
Okay.
What we started to realize as we grew and got to a point of, this is around 100 freelancers in the network that were pretty involved. Taking a percentage of projects is rough on a freelancer because it's a good amount. You look at these Upworks, these marketer hires, Fivers, any of the large gig economies, they're taking 15 to 20% of the single projects. That's a lot of the overhead. The marketer knows they're not going to keep 100%, and a lot of times the brands know they're going to get upcharged a little bit because naturally, to make up for that cost, the freelancer is going to charge a little bit extra because you're that brand. So that made us realize, one, there's a different way to do things, but two, you can think of the massive gig economies, but then there's 100 other versions of this gig economy. There's Assemble, there's just anything you can think of in terms of marketers connected via freelance to a brand. Somebody's thought of it in every capacity, whether it be PPC, whether it be web design. TopTal is a good example of that. But there's somebody for everything in that space, and everybody is competing on Google Ads and all these different places to come up front. I mean, you can spend $25, $35 on a click just because that space is so competitive and so saturated.
That's crazy.
And so that's when we realized there's got to be a different way to do this. So late 2021, this is 6-7 months ago. And I think this last time maybe we connected about where we were going was brands are hiring at a record pace. It's not just the freelance side, it's the full-time marketing side that is really in demand right now. What if we charge the brands for access to a premium community? So we built out a dashboard that you've been in and participated in the community. But we wanted to create something that gave marketers the advantage finally. We felt like all of these other platforms were kind of like a big brother. They really focused on, okay, we are going to set up this project. We are going to control every aspect of it. We got to make sure we're on every phone call because at the end of the day, we're in charge of invoicing and we don't want anybody circumventing us, and we want to make sure we get paid. Well, we figured a way more natural way to do that was let's charge brands a subscription to access this community. Whatever's closed through that, that's up to the marketer. Whatever job they take on, that's between the brand and the marketer. We don't need to be big brother to these people. We want to create the most natural relationship possible. Because the issue with setting up a phone call where you're the middleman is you're basically saying, hey, brand, meet John. I'm going to be on this phone call to listen to make sure that you guys don't circumvent us so that I can charge
It's like a blind date with the chaperone, dude.
That is the best way to put it. I've never thought of it that way, but that's exactly what it is. It's somebody kind of sitting at the table next to you being like, be careful about what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So, that's we created that. A lot of different iterations, really focused on building it on feedback versus assumption. I definitely do not have founder syndrome. Neither does my co-founder Brent. We wanted to hear what marketers wanted as resources outside of just jobs in this community. What do you want to talk about? What's interesting to you to learn about if we're going to set up these live Q&As or, ask an expert or have mentors you can reach out to. And so that's what
Let me ask you really quickly. Let me ask you on that part just real quick. I don't mean to cut you off, but how did you guys go about, so did you use the existing network that you already sort of built up? And what did you guys do? Just send out a forum, be like, hey guys, like we just need feedback at this point? Or was it more like, did you start having like individual calls, started to see something and then throw it out there to see if everyone else feels the same way? How did you go about getting sort of that feedback?
So one thing I believe in a lot is I'm old school. So I think a great way to equate it is you can text with somebody back and forth and talk over days, or you can jump on a phone call for 15 minutes and accomplish way more in that 15-minute phone call. So I was way more about, and same with my co-founder, of actually setting up these calls. How many calls have we been on together? But hearing from people on a phone call, they're going to be way more genuine with you. You're going to get them way
they
more
don't have
involved.
time to think about it. They don't have time to like overthink
Exactly.
it. They don't have time. Yeah. Okay.
And you're an actual person on this phone call. You're not just going back and forth via email. I'm Andrew on this call. I am not Gyde,
right.
As a company. So we tried to set up, I would say between November 2021 and today, I've had at least 250 phone calls with marketers. So it's definitely genuinely asking their feedback on a call, and really understanding what resources are most important to you. Some people are active job seekers. Some people want to learn the ins and outs of Google Ads. Some people just want to know what the salary for a product marketing director is in San Francisco versus living in Austin. If they should make the move, and asking that anonymously. And so all those different aspects, we realize we shouldn't just be a job board. The stickiness of this is a community aspect, giving people a resource to go to for whatever resource they really need. And so we're, of course, in the very early stages of this, but how we've really set it up is getting these experts in our community, whether it's full-time or freelance, and letting them invite marketers that they think are a great fit. So that's how we've been growing it lately, is just giving people their own custom invite link and having them be ambassadors of Gyde, creating a network of like-minded people that can really use this however they want to use it. And of course, we're in the early stages, but I can tell you it was a total pain in the butt to build out a platform that has, live streaming and, private forums and building in our own custom code for job boards. So that took, 3 or 4 months to really, I wouldn't say perfect is a great word, but get off the ground.
Right. And did you guys use something like Circle? You guys use Circle for that, right?
We use Circle, and then Webflow's integrated. We use Airtable, a bunch of different zaps that go to Airtable.
Digital duct tape, dude. Digital duct tape.
Digital duct tape, yeah. At this point, if especially where the economy is going, it's going to be harder and harder to raise VC dollars at ridiculous valuations. Mm-hmm. People are nervous right now. I don't know if you've seen the Y Combinator email that's circulated on all corners of the internet that, hold on to your money, basically, is what they're going for, which is quite ironic considering they invest millions of dollars into a ton of different companies and are a little bit of a part of this breakdown. But I think with us, it's in 2022, you can go low, no code and build out the same quality that you don't need to go build it on React and custom code everything. Right. It's definitely digital duct tape right now. It's expanding quickly though. We've brought on a few billion-dollar brands that are using us to source talent. We have mentors that are joining from Visa, Apple, Google, some of the world's biggest brands.
Wow! Congratulations, man. That's really awesome.
Yeah, we feel like it's we're on to something. It's obviously very early. We genuinely launched this. You were one of the first people I reached out to, I believe, when it was first launched, maybe late March. So it's validating to know that this kind of subscription access to marketing talent works, and people are willing to pay it, because unlike LinkedIn, when you post a job, you're not getting 100 applicants. You're maybe getting 6 to 10 applicants, but they're all high quality applicants that are relevant to your job post, because we make sure to send those to the right people and connect with the right people. One big thing we're doing right now is LinkedIn Connect. So if you are an expert in our community, you can connect your entire LinkedIn community. And anytime a job is posted in our premium job section, we will look through what you've connected your LinkedIn community. So these are all your passive network, essentially.
Okay.
I know you have a ton of LinkedIn connections. I do too. I think I have like 3,800. So you can basically connect all those people. And anytime somebody's a good fit, we'll request an introduction for you. If you agree to it and you know that person well enough, if they score an interview, if they land the job, you get rewarded for making that introduction. So not only do we have this network of thousands of marketers, we have this passive network of tens of thousands of marketers that's really helped us expand and basically find somebody for any type of role. And so that's where we see the future going, is not just creating a community, but incentivizing our community to connect others that they know to jobs. They might not be actively looking, but they sure as hell are going to know somebody that's a great fit for a role. Especially like at our level, if you have thousands of connections, there's almost a definite possibility that somebody in your network, you're going to know that it's a great fit and go, I just saw them post something that said, they got laid off in these, the Netflix or the Bolt or all these companies that are making these massive layoffs, Carvana, that they can make that introduction and find a job that quickly. So we're not just looking at our current network. We're saying, connect us with people you know. We want our community of experts to bring in other experts. And that's where we see the future going. And there's going to be layoffs in tech. I don't think it's going to be tough for the next 6 to 12 months, I think.
Right.
But there's always going to be industries that are recession proof, and there's going to be companies that thrive under certain conditions. During COVID, look at Zoom, for example. They went 10x during that time. There's always going to be somebody hiring. And that's what we're looking at, and making sure that we can help these people that are very talented. That, I think this is the beginning of a large amount of layoffs, definitely. And that's why we're going more the subscription route. We're not a recruiting firm. We're not taking a large percentage of first-year hire or anything like that. So it's a cost-effective and very efficient way to hire talent. And there's always going to be people looking. And I think especially in the tech industry, on the freelance side, okay, if you're laying off 10, 20% of your workforce, you're still going to need marketing talent. You're still going to need a PPC expert. Yep. And that's not going anywhere. That's not going anywhere. You're going to need a Shopify developer that is going to be able to create that side of things. So regardless of what you're looking for, I think we just posted a job for McDonald's, for example. I know they had some layoffs recently, but they're looking for a ton of freelance graphic designers. And so when one door closes, another opens. And that's why we're focused on both sides. It's freelance and full-time, and making sure that everybody gets their piece of the pie.
I love it, man. I love it. Thank you for being so damn thorough about it. That was awesome to hear the whole spiel, because there's a lot that out. Anything that was too in depth, edit that out. No. I think it touches on a lot of points, but my big question that I've been holding on to is that, do you see this now? Well, first let me ask you, if you're willing to share, how many paid members do you guys currently have? If you want to give me a rough number, that's fine too.
Yeah, right now we are at, depending on hearing back an email right now that I see in my inbox, I think we're at 17 companies that are on board right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it's at anywhere from a Series A company to, I guess I won't give away for privacy purposes, but yeah, we have 4 companies that are either valued at over $1 billion or have IPO'd and have a market cap over $1 billion.
Right. So, that's awesome. And what is the pricing? Is it on the website, or do you guys have it kind of just like?
No, we're totally open about it. So it starts at $450 a month, and then it just scales up depending on how many jobs you're posting. So it's definitely not geared towards the mom and pop shops of the world. We're not an Upwork. Like I said, it's not really built just for one-off. We are looking at brands that are scaling either on the freelance or full-time side. And you can have a total downturn on one side and scale up the other side. I think a lot of these large tech companies that are laying off, a third of their workforce, freelance is going to be a very big aspect to that, because there's no W-2, there's no health benefits. You can kind of use it when you need it, and that's our on-demand aspect. So it starts at $450 a month, and then just it's economy of scale. So the more jobs you add, the less per job per month it is.
Right. No, I love it. Now, are you planning on at all, once you guys, kind of grow this side of it? It seems like an idea that could be easily replicated. Like that could be, hey, let's go into development. Let's go into like really niche like markets, like health industry or whatever these things are. Like, where are your thoughts on that?
Well, I can tell you, I own the domain Gyde Digital for that exact reason. I think there is a very powerful aspect to having a community be your engine to recruiting.
Right.
I don't know why people aren't doing it this way. If you think about a standard recruiting firm, the amount of overhead it takes to manually reach out to people, to post a LinkedIn job at $50 a day, to do all these different things to funnel in all these people, when you can build a community that's the entire engine behind sourcing these referrals. I think our eventual goal is, we're finalizing a round right now to invest in the communities. We think that's super important. Making the community stronger, having meetups in person, lunches in each of our cohorts in Austin and LA and San Francisco and New York, having powerful mentors and ambassadors and having RFPs for agencies that we can drive, and creating the ultimate dashboard for marketers. And we think we can replicate that to sales, to rev ops, to engineering, to customer success, and kind of have it all be under the Gyde Digital umbrella. I've definitely thought of that. Given the U.S. Staffing economy is valued at $119 billion. You bet. I don't think marketing. I don't think marketing is the end all be all. And when you're talking to VCs, their brain goes immediately to, okay, how do I get these venture sized returns? I think that's the Gyde Digital pitch for sure.
Exactly. Now, as you guys were building this, what was one of the biggest pieces of feedback that you guys received that you were like, oh man, mind blown? Like, we didn't even think about this.
Oh man, I think
you probably had like one a week, huh?
Oh, I have so many. I'd say one major one is not being too generalized with your community. So a lot of these Slack channels, just to learn, I joined every Slack channel I could. Having a space that each kind of person can go into. So your freelance agency side, you're not looking for these full-time roles. You are a completely different marketer than a product marketing director, for example, that is wondering, how the hell do I hire my team up? So I think one thing is building out channels that people can find as a genuine resource. Because if you just have a general discussion and introductions, the basic Slack channels you can think of, I think that at a certain point it doesn't provide value to people. There's a couple large communities, I won't call them out on it, but that have tried to tackle sales, marketing, RevOps all under one umbrella, and it becomes completely useless to people because they don't care about what an AE has to say about providing value to a deal when they're an email marketing specialist. So I think creating different channels within this community, which is why we focused on marketing. We didn't want to overdo it too quickly. To be honest, sales is a way easier route to go in terms of the job board. Do you know how many people are looking for AEs or BDRs? So I think for us, it was realizing, okay, we need to create, and that's what we really started doing. There needs to be an agency channel for agency owners. There needs to be a product marketing channel for product marketers. There needs to be a freelance channel for freelancers that are really focused on these one-off jobs. There needs to be a kind of an Ask Me Anything section where people feel comfortable just going in and saying, what should I be asking hourly for this? Or am I underselling myself by accepting the salary they're offering? Creating anonymous channels. really building a community, because I think where we started was the community is, being totally transparent. We thought, oh, the community is really only going to be focused on jobs. And then we realized that's not true, because once somebody accepts a job or gets promoted or decides they're happy with their current role, they're done. That's it. There's no stickiness in Gyde then. And we're not providing value to these people. And so that's where we really started expanding it and having mentors. And that was one thing that blew me away, is just sending a cold email to these VPs or CMOs of marketing. So many people are open to helping. They've been through the trenches. They've been doing this for 20, 30 years, and they're realizing I can give back to people that, it could be even a director level person that's about to be promoted to VP. It could be a marketing manager that wants to know what route they should take to get to that level. So I think for us, it was realizing jobs weren't the only thing that mattered. That was the major piece of feedback, is build it out to kind of each individual and kind of create these channels. And that's the beauty of the tool we use, is we can create these things called secret groups. So if you, as an agency owner, want to experience as an agency owner, you don't have to join the other groups to be inundated with stuff that doesn't matter to you. You can use this as the exact resource for you.
And I just want to say, I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. You saying that with all the extra noise that's around, I feel like people already are consumed by that through social media, through, different, like you said, Slack channels. Everyone's at least on 2 or 3 Slack channels at this point. So there's already so much extra noise, and them immersing themselves into this community that you're building is one of those things where now they're getting even more unnecessary noise. So they're like a bubble within a bubble within a bubble. Like you're going so deep, and then you're not getting any value out of it. So I just want to say props on thinking about that, because I think that's more like a psychological thing than it is actually just, hey, we could just throw everything at them and make them, overwhelmed and all this other stuff just to give them value, which is not even really value, just because they're paying us X amount of dollars. So I think everyone is, I believe, now moving into more of the niche markets. Like niche was like 3 years ago. Now it's like sub niche. Like you're taking it one level deeper almost. And so I simply just want to say props on clearing the noise, because I know I'm joining part of like some of these communities, and I like being able to pick what I want to be part of and what I don't want to be part of. I don't care about finance growth. I'm thinking more like, how do we do like growth hacking? Like, how do we take this into our so there's different mindsets. So long story short, good job on isolating that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's so many things that are just hitting you from all different directions. I laughed the other day. I saw this thing on Kickstarter. It was a phone that basically looks like a 2005 Nokia cell phone. It's just the most basic thing. And it was about bringing it back to simplicity, because everybody's so inundated with all these different apps and all this constant information that it's just nice to focus on one thing. I saw that and kind of equated it to this, that because of how we can set up this community, you can log in and not have 9 million different things. You can log in as an agency owner, and your experience is going to be as an agency owner. It's not going to have the different channels. The Q&As you can join, the meetups you can join are going to be focused on that. On my end, that was definitely eye-opening, that I realized you can't just throw something out there. And I think a lot of these Slack channels are like that have these 40,000 people in them, and it's just so much stuff is irrelevant to so many people. There's one group, I won't say who it is, but they have 48,000 members in it, and each channel, somebody will ask a question, there'll be 1 or 2 responses out of almost 50,000 members, because people are so inundated with other things, they're not focused on what that is. And what would be great is have 300 or 400 people in that specific channel that know exactly what they're talking about. And you might get 3 or 4 responses, but they're going to be relevant. And they're not going to try to sell you on something, because when it gets out of hand, and I think that's the invite aspect of our community. We don't want to just make it anybody can join. We could have, we both know it's easy to build a community if you don't have any barriers to it. It's very easy. You can send sponsored messages on LinkedIn. There's so many different ways to do it. You can mass email through outreach. So I think for us, it's way more important to have quality than quantity. And I think all these channels go after quantity because they're looking to monetize it. They're hoping, okay, I get 10% of these people to pay us a subscription. Who cares? I'm making my monthly revenue. And
those people that built the community aren't even really active. They're just kind of letting everyone else speak the noise, and they're not even active. Yeah,
they're moderating to make sure you don't circumvent them, and that's about it.
Yeah,
and that doesn't matter to us. We want to build something that people won't feel the need to. Again, we're so early on, but I think way too many people have this idea in their head that, okay, I thought of this, I'm going down this exact channel that I thought of. It's founder syndrome, and I think we're just like, okay, let's hear what people have to say, because if you build something that people genuinely love to use, then you're going to be successful as a result of that.
Yeah, and how many freelancers on your platform at the moment?
We're at about 270 freelancers. Okay. Every single one of those freelancers, either Brent, my co-founder, or I have had a phone call with, just like we did when we first joined.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the focus. I mean, I could join these freelance Slack channels and post something out and send an invite link, but our goal is to find the best. So when somebody posts a website project, we send them 3 web designers that have the exact experience they're looking for versus them going on 15. Upwork and going through 178 that are coming from all different angles, and most, again, that's kind of going back to the getting inundated from all different angles. This works the same for a brand. I think almost every single person would rather have 5 people that are an absolute great fit than 150 people that are all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think on your end has been the toughest part about building the community in terms of when you guys started in like late 2019 to like getting to this point? What was like the toughest part that you guys just had to hammer away at for a while?
I would say the hardest part in the beginning was, and this is a recommendation I'd give to anybody starting an agency or anything, is it's okay to take on work for less in the beginning if you can prove out your quality. So one of the first brands we brought on, this was in the post COVID for time, was Aston Martin. We did their F1 video. I didn't take a single margin from that. We worked with the freelancers in Austin because that's where the F1 race was. We did their unveiling of their car, the actual F1 race with Max Verstappen. Did that whole thing and did it at cost. But the whole deal was we were willing to do it if they did a testimonial, if we were allowed to use their logo. And I think that builds validation. So that was the first step. It was like, Richard Rainwater is a great product, but 99% of people don't know what Richard's Rainwater is unless you live in Austin, Texas.
Of course.
Everybody knows what Aston Martin is. It's the James Bond car. So I would say that was like the eye-opening moment. Is as soon as we got that, it was a lot easier to pitch brands on it, to pitch marketers on it, because they were like, oh crap, they're working with a
Aston Martin,
globally renowned brand. So that was the first step, is realizing it's not as important to just go after money in the beginning. It's to prove out your business. From there, the hardest part was, pitching something on a community without a community existing is pretty tough. Luckily, we have a sales background, both Brett and I, so I think that was a big part of it, is we kind of know how to hook people in. And we're real human beings, so we want to hear what you're looking for. And once people let their guard down and open up, that's a big part. So I mean, personally, I'm not a community expert by any means, but if you're going after quality of your community, have the phone calls. You're just a other person on a computer. Otherwise, you're just the other end of a message chain or another end of an email. Once you connect with somebody, they are going to be totally, whether it's brutal or not, they're going to be honest. But it's good to get the brutal honesty. I don't think it's bad to be shit on from time to time. It brings you down to earth and makes you realize, what I thought was totally dumb. There's a totally different
humility,
way to look at
dude.
this. Yeah,
humility, dude.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, you gotta you gotta eat it sometimes and just realize you were totally wrong about something. And my background isn't in marketing. Who is going to know more, me or a marketer that's been in the industry for 20 years, that's been a part of 10 other communities? I'm going to listen to them.
Right.
And that's only going to happen via phone call. So I would say that was the hardest part in the beginning. It became easier as we got more and more people to join, because then there was validation. And then once the community is built, of course, there's like an actual dashboard they can log into, and they realize this isn't like LinkedIn spam or email spam. I think that's where it got easier. But yeah, I mean, I guess my advice to any agency or freelancer is, and, you don't have to do it through Upwork. If you have the talent, it's okay to make a sacrifice in the beginning if you can get the logo or get the large brand or whatever it is that validates your work. You can't just jump in and expect to make a ton of money out of the gate by not having proof of concept or validation. So I don't know. That was definitely the hardest part in the very beginning was realizing, especially me. I mean, post-COVID, I'm here on scraps, just barely surviving. Luckily, my girlfriend at the time, wife now, was very supportive, but that was risky. It was like, okay, this project with Aston Martin could have been way bigger. I mean, it could have been triple the cost. Could have made a big margin on it. But I wanted to make sure we won it. I wanted to make sure there was no doubt. That's how I pitched it. Was I'm not taking anything on this. I want you guys to be the driver of my business. I'm so confident in these freelancers, and these video editors, and social managers.
It's confidence, dude. It's that confidence. Everyone appreciates that when they hear it, and especially when you execute on it, it's like a double stamp that, they literally gave you their stamp, like literally gave you their stamp.
It was definitely nerve-wracking, and just being like, I was totally transparent and honest. Like I was like, we went down to nothing after COVID, and you guys could help fuel our business, and I'm willing to do all of this at cost. And it worked out.
Awesome.
I mean, and we got to keep their, they ended up posting that video to their global social media account, which I think has 12 million followers. And so that
wow.
It wasn't even that we had to keep the video on our site. We could just say, go look at Aston Martin's Instagram and you can see it for yourself. That was definitely like the turning point of going from completely broke on my ass to, okay, there's something here.
That's awesome. Well, I love it, man. I love the grind. And that takes me kind of to, where does the entrepreneurial spirit come from that you have now? Did you always kind of feel like you were going to go off on your own, or did you just kind of branch out and you're like, oh, this is me? Like, did you know it before, or did you figure out when you started it?
I would say I'm the most prepped for the entrepreneurial world as possible. My major in college was entrepreneurial management. Started a company in college. About 3 months after college, I joined a company as their head of sales called Drop Shades. It was glasses, the Kanye West stunner shades that he used to have. It was those glasses that had EL wire going up them, and they went up and down to the beat of the music. Sounded like the dumbest concept, right? But my college roommate was an engineer. So with a 9-volt battery attached to the side of these Kanye West stunner shades and EL wire, he made the first prototype. We scrapped together our money, put it on Kickstarter, tried to raise $15,000, raised right under $100K on Kickstarter.
Oh, shit.
Then we had to figure out all the rest after that. The molding, getting it all encased so people didn't get shocked. And as part of the video, what really helped was we went to EDC, Electric Daisy Carnival in Las Vegas. And Avicii wore the shades. Huge electronic artist, obviously.
Of course.
Away, but that just fueled it. People saw Avicii in the video and were like, holy crap, okay, it's got to be legit. He was just nice, let us into his trailer for like 3 minutes.
That's awesome. How did you get connected with him?
So we knew a DJ out in Las Vegas that was connected to EDC. And so they were like, you're gonna, we'll bring you backstage. You got a couple minutes to go into this trailer and convince him. And we were so nervous because part of the time, because at this point they weren't encased in the glasses, they'd give you a little shock on your nose because these were just like the manual versions of this. And so we were like, oh man, how are we going to do this? And luckily, for he wore him for all of maybe 30 seconds and was like, did a little head rock with him. So we had that in the video, and we took him off, and we were like, thank God it didn't shock him.
You're like, can I have you sign the liability forms, please, before you put those on?
We're like, this is like, and we're all, 21, 22 years old, meeting a global superstar DJ, and we're like, oh no, this could go one of two ways. He was super nice, super cool. So that worked out. And I think that was like my first real taste of it. Was we got to go back the next year. I spent a couple of weeks in Vegas at that point, which feels like 2 years anywhere else. And we sold them to.
Good point.
Yeah, it's just it's a nightmare. Vegas is a 72-hour town for sure. At max, but we ended up selling them to EDC the next year. So they had the EDC logo on them. Sold quite a few pairs to them. And so that was my first realization. Like, this is way better than just having like a normal job. But of course, it's light up sunglasses, so they're not. This isn't I didn't drive off with a Ferrari at the end of this. Right. Anywhere close. So went back to the real world for a little while, but just always had the itch for it. My dad started his own company in his mid-20s, so I think that was a big part of it. And I don't know. I just
you had the hustle.
Yeah, I think there's a Bill Burr stand-up where he talks about there's the
that guy's a legend, by the way.
Legends, but he talks about being in this stable job and sleeping in a bed with this life you never planned, and all these different things. He talks about he was a 30-year-old on the couch, just sleeping on couch surfing and going to other people's places and saying, but I was going after what I love, and who's in a better spot. And he said, I'd always rather be that person on the couch. And I heard that and thought, damn, I totally agree with that, because
hell yeah,
there has to be that mindset that you have to be willing to live life like other people wouldn't be willing to do, to eventually live life like they can't. And I think that's how you have to have it. If that's your mindset, then you should start your own company. You should be an entrepreneur. If that's where your brain goes, that you're not comfortable with the stability of.
You have to be uncomfortable constantly. Like you have to constantly be uncomfortable. Yeah, exactly.
And it's a roller coaster. I mean, 5 days ago, top of the world. Then something bad happens. That's the thing of if you own your own companies. It's just the ups and downs are so great. And my co-founder has a great way of looking at things. You can go to work, and 3 days you feel like everything is worth it, and 2, it's not. You can hit that majority, then keep going. I'm definitely there. I'm definitely at least 3 or 4 days out of the week that I am totally for it.
Hell yeah.
It's not for everybody, but and we're of course in the early stages, but we think we're on to something, and we've been through a lot, and it's like you're saying, it's constantly being uncomfortable. It's not like the gig economy side did bad. We generated quite a bit of revenue through that side. It was just seeing something that people weren't doing and thinking, why isn't anybody doing it this way? And I think that's getting out of your comfort zone again. And I don't know if my wife was super stoked when I said that, but here we are, and I think she's happier now.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome, man. I love that story, dude. I say thank you for sharing all of that. That was awesome. Anything else you want to cover? Anything you guys are releasing? Anything you want to, say in terms of where Gyde is going? If you're willing to share anything, we're coming up on the hour, so I don't want to keep you too long. So I just want to make sure that you have the time and space to.
Yeah, I would say the big thing for us is, as we've been raising this money, is we definitely are looking for ambassadors to Gyde. It's going to be a paid program. We want people to be involved and have skin in the game. So I think that's the next step here is creating kind of, instead of going after community managers, people that are ambassadors to either different cohorts, whether it be by location or marketing function, to really help engagement stay up, build the community naturally, not by ads or anything like that, but just by natural invites. That's where we're going, and we are creating a way. I think our referral program is going to be a way that people can make real money and kind of create that internal referral program that people are used to at working at a company and saying, bring a friend in here. And after they stay for 3 months, you get paid out X. Yeah. We want to apply that concept to all these marketing jobs. And because of our margin on the subscription side, we believe we can do that. So I'd say those are the big two things that are coming out, is our referral program and the ambassador program. So anybody that's interested in that, it's Andrew at Gyde Marketing. Just my name and the website. Shoot me an email and let's chat.
I love it, man. Awesome. Last question I wanted to ask you. How big is the team now? Is it just you and your co-founder still, or do you guys have a few people?
We have a CTO now, and then we have 2 part-time folks. So it's nice. I guess if you're counting everybody, there's 5 of us now. So that's awesome. A little larger than last time we spoke. Yeah.
Are you guys planning on?
Yeah, after this round, we're definitely planning on hiring both on the marketing side and on the community side. So we're about 2/3 of the way done with the raise. I would say, of course, every time somebody tells you it's going to be 2 weeks to get a check, it's 4 weeks to get a check. So over the next 2 to 3 months, I think that's when we're going to start expanding. With that technology duct tape, I think we can go a long way with our current CTO, but we definitely want to expand on the marketing and community side.
Absolutely. Well, man, as I always say, I'm very, very amazed at what you did, and I know you had to pivot a few times, and so props on sticking with it. Props on being okay with being uncomfortable, because I think that's what's going to continue to grind the hustle and keep going. So props on everything you're doing. Thanks for always inviting me to the community, and I know I haven't been very active just because I'm not in the market right now. We're trying to do other things over here, but I appreciate it, man, and thanks for being on the podcast. And do you connect with people like LinkedIn, Twitter? What do you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn is an easy one. Just Andrew Fischer. Look up Gyde Marketing. Connect with me. I would say with the 100 LinkedIn connections you get a week, I'm at least using 95 of those. So
there you go.
Man. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Thanks, Andrew. I really appreciate it, brother. And we'll be connected. And thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Zeke.
Cheers.
Well, you made it to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for tuning into What is My Brain podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got some value out of it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button or the follow button to get notified when new episodes are live. I'm out. Thank you.